On Thursday night, Manchester United play Barcelona at the Nou Camp. Is it one of the biggest games of the season? Should we be focusing on the Premier League? Who would you put out? What's your predictions? What's Barcelona's form going into the game? I will run through absolutely everything. All the latest team news. We'll speak about Martinez and Casemiro. We'll speak about Sabitzer. We'll speak about Varane. Sure, the whole works. So make sure you let me know what you think, what your prediction is for the game in the comments, because this is a big one. Arguably, I mean, PSG Bayern's a big one. This is certainly one of the biggest games in Europe this week, even if it is a Europa League playoff knockout game. Let's run through all the team news. Now, I want to get the bad stuff out of the way first. We know full well the Martinez is suspended for this game because of a silly, it wasn't even a yellow card in my opinion. Maybe I got red tinted glasses. I don't think I was. In the same way, both Sociedad games, the penalty that was given in the first one is the reason this game even exists in the first place. And that yellow against Martinez, it wasn't a yellow. He's suspended for the game, and so is Marcel Sabitzer, because he's picked up 3 yellow cards playing in the group stage for Bayern Munich in the Champions League this year. He would have missed PSG's game against Bayern Munich tonight, but instead, he's going to miss the away leg at the Nou Camp. So we're going to have to cope without both of those players. In terms of other players who are unavailable, this is what Ten Hag said before the game against Leeds. He said that Anthony, Martial and McTominay were all out, and the expectation was that all 3 of them would be missing for this leg at the Nou Camp too. So we've got some injuries, and I'll run through the team news and selection. There are some concerns, but the first thing we need to take a look at is Barcelona, because they right now are in some dirty form. Look at them, top of the league, 9 points ahead of Real Madrid. Obviously played one more game, but 5 wins on the spin in the league. And look at the results that Barcelona have had since they returned from the World Cup. That is a seriously good set of results. Drew against Espanyol, but then they beat Intercity, they beat Atletico, beat Real Betis on penalties, beaten Real Madrid, beaten Quetta, beaten Getafe, beaten Sociedad, beaten Girona, beaten Betis, beaten Sevilla, and beaten Villarreal. Their form is stupid. And one thing I want to say about this game is it's definitely going to mean quite a lot to Erik Ten Hag. He's always said that Johan Cruyff is one of his inspirations as a coach. And Johan Cruyff, of course, the Johan Cruyff from Ajax, who went on to manage Barcelona too. This is going to be a big game for him on a personal level, and it is a massive game for Manchester United. Look, the Premier League is our focus this season, right? And we've competed against the very best in the Premier League, and we've beaten all of them at Old Trafford. What can we do up against arguably Europe's most informed team in Barcelona? Pedri playing out of his skin. De Jong, if you've been watching any Barcelona games, De Jong, he's looking pretty good right now. Let's take a look at the team that started against Leeds, and let's run through the team news, every single position, because there will definitely be quite a few changes. Maybe not quite a few changes, but a couple of obvious changes, and then there's a couple of conversations we can have. Now, me personally, if I'm looking to this game, I'm looking at 2 individuals who I want to be the cornerstone of this performance, and this man is one of them. Rafa Varane, who was rested at the weekend. Maguire stepped in and played alongside Shaw. I think Varane, 1,000,000% comes straight back into this starting 11 with Maguire dropping to the bench. If anybody knows what it means, or what it's like to win it at the Nou Camp, I think Varane's got a little bit of experience, and so has a certain Brazilian as well. Now, Luke Shaw, he will definitely be partnering him as a left centre-back. And Shaw, man, if you can do it against City at Old Trafford, who's to say he can't do it against Barcelona at the Nou Camp? You might say it's a different kettle of fish, but City have been on a different level for a good amount of years. Barcelona really coming into form. I think they got their first trophy under Xavi, what was it, about 4 or 5 weeks ago after they beat Real Madrid. I think it will be Shaw and Varane. And I'll be honest, I think I'm pretty confident with that. It's a real shame, massive shame, that we're not going to have Martinez there. But I think Shaw will have some. He's a very good progressive footballer at left centre-back. Sorry, at left-back. Maybe a little bit less so at left centre-back. But I also think that depends on the 2 midfielders he's got in front of him. And I'll run through that. Malacia will definitely keep his place. And I think there's a bit of a conversation to be had around Dalot and Wan-Bissaka. Because I think in this game, look, Dembele might be missing. We know that Busquets is missing. I get the feeling that Erik Ten Hag is actually going to go for Wan-Bissaka in this game. I really do. And I might be wrong on that. Dalot obviously started away at Leeds, and you can see the threat that he poses. That we've got options at right back now, and I didn't think we'd have options at right back. I really, really didn't. But that would be my personal choice of back five, of what I predict anyway. Wan-Bissaka and Malacia as the two fullbacks. Shaw at left centre-back and Varane. You could say it's makeshift, it is, but Shaw's done it against City. And if he can do it there, I think he can do it away at the Nou Camp. Maybe it's a little bit harder, but we'll find out. And De Gea, of course. Now, let's move on to midfield. And the obvious big bit of news here. I love that photo of Casemiro. He looks like a man possessed. And I tell you what, being able to just do this, to bring this bloke back in midfield. Now, Sabitzer is suspended, so obviously it'll be Fred playing alongside him, and I'll run through that in a little bit. But just this man here. I wouldn't say the entire game depends on his performance, but it's really going to be anchored around him. One big problem that we had away at Leeds this weekend was whenever we had either of our centre-backs on the ball here, Fred and Sabitzer, neither of them was dropping into these positions to give them a nice, easy ball out because the pressure was too high from Bamford. Now, you can let me know anybody who's been really watching Barcelona. Are they playing a massively aggressive and high-pressing game? Or are they just, being Barcelona and just building through their own possession? Casemiro will drop deep. He'll be that man. I don't need to tell you how Casemiro plays. I'm just fucking glad that we've got him back. And again, if I'm looking at this man for experience at the Nou Camp, of going there in a hostile atmosphere, I'm looking at this man to be the guy to deliver. I'm hoping he can put in a performance of the ages. It's unfair to rest that much responsibility on an individual, but I'm looking at a 5 times Champions League winner who thrives in that environment. You can put pressure on players like Casemiro because they want you to put pressure on them, and I can't wait to see him back. Now, Fred will be playing alongside him. I'll be completely honest, we're wafer thin in midfield options. We look here, we go up there. Eriksen's out for 3-4 months. McTominay is out as well. He's injured, and we don't know when he's going to return. Maybe he's going to return randomly for this game. Sabitzer is out as well, which means that we're looking at Mainu and Iqbal. And if I can pull the right photo up, is it that one there? That's Bruno. There he is. There's Mainu. Past our midfield trio who's starting, and that's going to be Casemiro, Fred, and Bruno. There isn't really a question about it because there isn't really an alternative. And then we're going to be looking towards probably Kobbie Mainu to come off the bench if we need him to. I imagine Ten Hag will, in an ideal world, would like to see out the full 90 minutes there and rest Fred, maybe get Mainu starting at the weekend or Iqbal. I don't know, but we've got a lack of options. And Fred put in one of those performances where you put a smile on United fans' faces. Come on, Casemiro. Just come on, Casemiro. Really. Now, if you move on further up the pitch, Bruno Fernandes, we need one of those performances from Bruno where he has more of an element of control about it. We can't be chasing the ball around this Nou Camp pitch, man. Especially after we played Leeds home and away. I'm looking for Bruno to try and be that missing link. And if he can, maybe slow it down a little bit when we need to. We don't always have to fire through the transitions. Sometimes it's good. Sometimes hitting the counter works for us in that sense. And that's where Bruno actually plays his best football. But in this environment, we can't do that for the full 90 minutes and sustain that against Barcelona. It's just not possible. Now, in terms of the attack, there's one absolute guarantee. That's Marcus Rashford starting. And in my opinion, Marcus Rashford starting on this left wing. Right? We've seen in these last couple of weeks Rashford pushed out to the right to accommodate Garnacho on the left. No, do not accommodate one of Europe's most informed players. You give him the position that he wants and you allow him to thrive there. Marcus Rashford has to start on that left wing for Manchester United against Barcelona. All right? There's no two ways about it. Now, who starts alongside him? That's where we get questions. And I'm definitely going to go for Jadon Sancho out on that right wing. Jadon Sancho, I think, look, I love the fact he's back. I don't know whether he'd actually prefer to play off the left, but it's just not possible. Anthony, I think, is going to be missing with an injury. Elanga's not really. He's there. He'll probably be in the squad, but I wouldn't use him unless we need to. Sancho has got to start this game out on that right wing. And of course, that leaves Alejandro Garnacho on the bench. And I think he can have an incredible impact from that bench. And I think it's something that can really help United as this game progresses. Because, look, you can probably argue fairly, I think, about putting Weghorst on the bench, putting Rashford through the middle and Garnacho on the left, and then Sancho on the right. That's a very quick, we're talking a pure transition team there. Front to back, hitting on the counter with that. There's nothing else. We're not really holding the ball up there. I think that's probably why he's going to have Weghorst in there, if possible, just to try and at any point bring the tempo of the game down. Because we go here against Barcelona at the Nou Camp, right? Knowing full well there's no away goals, knowing full well our form at Old Trafford this season, Erik Ten Hag will be saying to, maybe he won't say it to his players explicitly, but he knows full well, if we come away from this game with a draw, a score draw, doesn't matter, and take it to Old Trafford, knowing that if we win, we're through, that's what he will want. I think that's why he'll start Weghorst up front, and I think that's why that will be my starting 11. De Gea in goal with Malacia, Shaw, Varane, Wan-Bissaka, a midfield trio of Casemiro, Fred and Bruno, and a front three of Sancho, Rashford and Weghorst. And my prediction for this game, I'm going for a 1-1 draw, and I'll be happy with that. I'm nervous about it. How can you not be nervous given the form of Barcelona? 5 wins on the spin in the Liga. One of Europe's most informed teams. They've only one game they haven't won since they returned from the World Cup. It's stupid. My prediction's 1-1. What's yours? And that's my starting 11. I think he'll start Weghorst. I think he'll want him to slow the game down where possible. But Casemiro, man. Casemiro, come in and have an absolute worldie. Please. Because if he does that, and Varane, it's going to be a cracking game, a cracking atmosphere. Big up to everybody who's going. I've taken the responsible decision not to go to Barcelona because I know I'd just get plastered for 3 days. With everything that's going on at this club right now, I think it's more important for me to be here and to cover everything properly. But I'm sad I'm not going to be in Barcelona. Down Las Ramblas in the afternoon, sipping a cold one with some... Anyway, 1-0 is my prediction. What's yours? You let me know in the comments, but it's a big, big game. It really is.